Hi everyone, Dr. Gillespie here to show you how to complete your virtual field experiences. So to get started with your virtual field experiences, I'm going to flip the camera around to show you what I see on my screen, and I'm going to talk you through the process. So to get started with your virtual field experience, what you're going to do is when you log into Blackboard under the course that you were taking, you're going to come over here to course materials, and then you're going to come down to where it says virtual field experience. Excuse me, let me get rid of that. And when you click on virtual field experiences, you're going to see all the virtual field experiences that you are going to be doing for this class. So the first one that we're going to be doing for the example is going to be the infants and toddlers. So to download that, all you have to do is click on it and it's going to either download at the top or down at the bottom or wherever your downloads go. Then back over here, there's a couple of things that you're going to want to access as well. One is going to be the developmental chart for infants and adolescents, and this is just for you to help you make notes as you're watching the video. And then there's also a video notes how-to guide, which is a PDF that has screenshots that shows you a lot of what I'm going to be covering right now in this video. So let's take a look at those two documents. Okay. So let's start with your virtual field experience document for infants and toddlers. So it's pretty straightforward. So you're going to watch videos about infants and toddlers. So we're going to be watching babies at daycare, baby with Down syndrome playing with parents, and toddlers learning and playing sports at the park. And you're going to be answering 6 questions for each video. So there's 18 questions total that you're going to be answering. But for this one, you're only going to have 2 to do for this one. But for all other weeks, you'll have 3 of them to turn in for me. So the one that we're going to be doing together today is going to be baby with Down syndrome playing with parents. So what we're going to do is you're going to watch the video and you're going to make notes using video notes. So you have your video note directions and then you have your video questions. So your video notes directions is the very first step that you do. So you're going to watch the video and you're going to make notes using video notes in regard to these things. So you're going to be looking for the physical characteristics of the children, the cognitive, the social emotional, how the adults are helping the children develop, the materials being used, the activities that they're doing, and then any theorists that you may see. You can make a note and then you can go elaborate on it later in your questions. So to submit your video notes, what you do at the end, and I'll show you this as well, is you click on the share button and then you copy and paste the link into your question number 1. So your video notes is tied into your questions. And then you use your notes that you made in video notes to answer these other questions. So the very first question is just describe in detail what is going on in the video. Well, that's going to be your video notes. So the only thing you have to do for that question is copy and paste your link under your question number 1. And then you're going to use all your notes from video notes to answer these questions. So what physical, cognitive, and social emotional characteristics are evident and explain? How are the adults helping the children develop physically, cognitively, and socially emotionally and explain? What types of materials are being used? Are they developmentally appropriate and explain? What activities are the children and adults doing? Are they developmentally appropriate and explain? And then describe and explain which educational and or behavioral theorists or theories are prevalent in this video. So for that question, you may also want to access back into the educational theorist PowerPoints and even your notes that I gave you of all the short cheat sheet notes on the theorist. So down here at the bottom, here's your rubric. So the most important thing as we look at the exemplary column is that you explain clearly and in detail. So the more detail you give, the higher your score will be. If you really don't give a lot of notes or you really don't explain as well as you could have, that's when your score goes down. So make sure that you answer the questions completely and that you are clear and detailed. Now, as for the theorist question, you only have to name one theorist. However, I do want to challenge you, and I will challenge you at times, to think about more theorists in general. So as long as you can answer and explain at least one theorist clearly and in detail, then you will get your full points. Now, the most important thing is that your theorists were appropriate and explained clearly. So if you talk about a theorist and you explain their theory but they don't apply to this video, or you can't make a connection between the theorist and the video, then your score is going to go down. So make sure that you're really using evidence from the video to support why that theorist is prevalent. And then last but not least is going to be your grammar and your mechanics. So making sure that you proofread it so that it's easy to read. So to get started with your video notes, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is scroll back up from the top from the rubric and come right here and click on this hyperlink that will take you over into video notes, which looks a little something like this. Now, to get started with video notes, what you need to do is you need to connect with your Google Drive. So you're going to be using your Coker email address. And typically when you pop it up, it's going to pop up all the emails that you have. So use your Coker email address, and everything that you do for video notes will be saved into your Google Drive automatically. So from here, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to title your video. So the one that we're going to be doing is Baby with Down Syndrome Playing with Parents. So we're going to want to save that. So now my file is titled the title of the video. So it makes it very clear and easy which one that we're doing. The second thing that you do with this is you are going to copy the URL over, and then you're going to hit load video. Well, to do that, you're going to have to access your Word document. So we're going to come here and click on the link that we need, and it's going to pop it up over into YouTube.
We're at the link we wanted to
But we can't take our notes in there. So what we need to do is we need to copy and
how
paste.
we created our amazing new website.
Came back on again. So we're going to copy and paste that link, and then we're going to go over into our video notes, and we're just going to paste it in. And then we're going to hit load video, and you're going to notice that the video is now over in the side. So now as we watch the video, we can take notes over. So a couple of things to know about video notes. So right here, you can press the up caret and the space to continue. It's easiest to hit the space bar to pause and play. However, you don't have to pause and play if you don't want to. It's up to you. But as you type your notes, it's going to timestamp where in the video that occurred. Also, something else you can do is you could speed it up or you can slow it down. So those two things. So let me give you an example of what this might look like. So let's watch Noah. And as we watch Noah, I'm going to take notes over in the side to show you what this might look like, to show my thinking and to show also what are some of the things that you should be looking for when you're watching your videos. So going back to our description, one more time, I'm looking for physical and cognitive and social emotional changes, how the adults are helping, the materials, the activities, and then if I see any theorist, I can make notes for that as well, because those are going to help me answer my questions later. So all you have to do to get started is push play and then click over to the side. And then as you watch your video, you're going to take notes.
Get 'em. Get 'em.
Hey!
Okay, I'm gonna hide.
Where did he go?
Hi! Hi! You got me! Yeah! Yeah! Bye-bye! Bye-bye! Hi! Hey! Okay. Bye-bye! Bye-bye!
Get him.
Hey! Yeah! You got Noah!
So as you notice, it went a little quicker than I could type. So something else I could do is I can make it go back and I can make it start over again. Or as I'm done, I can finish typing up my notes. So there's a couple more things in here I want to write about Noah and his dad. So we know it's Noah, and as we can see from the video, they were playing with a green spiky ball. They were laughing. The male was yelling hey, and he was hiding. So right here beside hiding, I'm going to go back and put hide and seek. And then the female asking, where did he go? Clapping, smiling, laughing. He can sit up. He can also go from crawl position to sitting. And he can use his hands to move the ball away from the male's face. So now that I'm done with that, I have my notes, and this video was relatively short. So sometimes your videos are short and sometimes they're going to be a little bit longer. So now all we have to do is come up to share. And we are going to copy this link. So we want to keep it in, anyone with the link can view it. So we're just going to copy and paste that link. And we're going to come over into our notes. And the only thing we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste that link in. Now make sure that it does light up as a hyperlink, so when I click on it, I can access your video notes file. So what I've done is I've already given you an example of what Noah's write-up would look like. So based off of my video notes, I said a couple of things. So going back to my notes really quickly, I said things such as he was playing with a green spiky ball, he was laughing, he could move, he could clap, he could smile, he could laugh, he could sit up, and he could go from a crawling position to a sitting position, and he could move the ball away from the male's face. So now what I want to do is I want to come back over into my example to show you how I wrote that up. So question number 2 says, what physical, cognitive, and social emotional characteristics are evident in the video? Well, you need a section for each of those because that is a 3-part question. So physically, Noah is able to use his fine motor skills because he was using his hands to move the ball away from his dad's face. He is also able to hold his head up, hold himself up with his arms, and slide around on his belly by pushing his feet. He can sit up and he can go from sitting to crawling. And I can even add here, and crawling to sitting. Left out L there. Let's go put that back in. To sitting. And then cognitively, Noah is learning object permanence. Kind of that part with the peekaboo and him laughing and thinking it's funny that his dad disappeared. So at this age, babies do not understand that when something is out of sight that it still exists. Therefore, they enjoy playing games like peekaboo. So tying in those notes as we go. And they are surprised when the object reappears. So Noah is learning that even though the ball is covering his dad's face, that his dad is still there. And Noah is also learning to manipulate the objects by using his motor skills. So that also goes back into physical, but it's cognitive because he's learning to do that. And then socially, emotionally, Noah is showing good milestones because he's smiling, he's laughing, he's clapping, and he's making noises. And socially, Noah is interacting with his parents and responding to their directions and praise because he keeps moving the ball away from their face. Now, for the 3rd question, how are the adults helping the children develop physically, cognitively, and socially, emotionally? Now, this question is not asking what are the parents doing physically, cognitively, and socially, emotionally. It's asking how they're helping the child develop. So make sure you're focusing on the interaction and not on what the parents or the adults are doing. So physically, Noah's parents are helping him discover or develop his fine motor skills by helping him practice moving the ball. And they are also allowing him to strengthen his gross motor skills by allowing him to play on the floor, which is tummy time, where he can crawl. Let's add an L there. Go from a seated position to a crawling position, etc. Cognitively, again, this is a 3-part question. Noah's parents are helping him understand that things that are out of sight still exist. And they are also helping him learn to problem solve and manipulate objects through practice and repetition. And then socially, emotionally, they provide him with a caring environment that encourages him to try new things, and they praise him. And this builds his self-esteem and encourages him to try new things. And then the 4th question, what type of materials are being used? Are the materials developmentally appropriate? And then explain. Well, the main material they were using was the green spiky ball. So the green spiky ball is developmentally appropriate because it is soft and it is less likely to cause injuries to the baby. So it's a safe material for them to use. And then number 5, what activities are the children and the adults doing? And are these developmentally appropriate? And explain. Well, activities, they were problem solving. They had him moving the ball back and forth and solving, trying to find his dad. They were practicing with motor skills, they were doing peekaboo, and they were also participating in tummy time. So the interaction strategies, materials, and activities are appropriate for Noah because babies need to develop their motor skills. Therefore, allowing them to have tummy time is important because it allows them the opportunity to strengthen these motor skills. Peekaboo, not book, let's make sure we proofread these, is also appropriate because it helps develop object permanence and build social skills. Because I don't know why word changed my word. But peekaboo is a game between two individuals. So it's a social game that they're doing. So see, even the best of us make grammatical mistakes and we have to go back and catch it because sometimes our brain plays tricks on us because boo and book look very similar. Now, down here at the bottom, you may not have saw this right away when you were in the video watching it. So this may take you a little bit more elaboration and thinking. So the last question is describe and explain which educational and or behavioral theories are prevalent in the video. Well, I gave you 3 examples. You only need one, but make sure that your one that you use is very prevalent and it's seen, and that you can also give examples from the video that show this. So Piaget is prevalent in this video because his theory of cognitive development discusses the development of object permanence in the sensory motor stage. So by the time a child reaches the pre-operational stage, he and she has developed object permanence. This was seen in the video when Noah was trying to find his father behind the ball. So it gives a clear example of when this was seen. Now, Erickson is also prevalent in this video because Noah's parents are helping Noah with his crisis stage, trust versus mistrust. Noah trusts his parents, and his parents are encouraging and praising to Noah, which in turn helps him develop a sense of autonomy and confidence in his ability. So he would have been less likely to move the ball and try to find his dad if they weren't happy and clapping and praising him. So that is very much an example of Erickson being prevalent. And then last but not least, Vygotsky is also prevalent in the video because Noah's mother and father are socially interacting with Noah and scaffolding based on Noah's needs. So Vygotsky claims that children learn through social interaction and that they learn best when they are taught in their zone of proximal development, their ZPD. Therefore, Noah's parents are helping him because they are socially interacting with Noah through modeling and language and scaffolding with his ZPD by prompting him with directions and modeling how to move the ball. So they were really helping him with this developmental stage and helping him to learn that just because the ball was in front of the father's face doesn't mean that he has disappeared. So when you're done with your video, I'm going to save mine. You have 2 more videos that you're going to complete for this week. This one is your example. So you're going to copy and paste, and I'll have this up in Blackboard for you, and then it as a template, and then you can just put your next 2 below this one here. Now, after you're finished with all of your videos, I want you to choose one of the 2 that you did. So no one should upload Baby with Down Syndrome playing with parents to the discussion board. You need to choose one of the other 2 that are in your assignment. So either babies at daycare or toddlers learning and playing sports at the park. So you're going to pick one of those 2 and you're going to copy and paste your responses into the Blackboard discussion board. So if I was to go back over in here and take my Baby with Down Syndrome, I'm going to copy and paste it. So I just copied all of it. And I'm going to come over back into Blackboard. And you can get into this one of 2 ways, depending on what week you're doing. Or you can go straight to the discussion board. And then you could just click on the assignment. So there's no thread there at this time. So I'm going to create a thread. And I'm just going to copy and paste what I wrote in there. So I'm going to take the title and I'm going to write my last name in front of it just so everybody knows who this belongs to. And then I am going to make sure that it's clean. Sometimes it makes your spacing off really bad, so just check it. Make sure that it looks okay before you submit it so it's easy for everybody to read. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to come down here and you're just going to hit submit. Please make sure that you copy and paste your virtual field experience into the text box instead of attaching a file. If you attach a file, everybody has to download your file, and that takes a lot of space on their computer and it's a little bit harder. So just make sure that you copy and paste it in, and then when you're finished, hit submit, and it will go straight to the discussion board. So now you could click on it and you would see my entire response there. Now for the next part, so after you complete all of your virtual field experience, the other thing that you have to do for this assignment is respond to 2 peers. So make sure that you post and then see the calendar for when you need to respond to your 2 peers. Make sure that your responses to your peers are relevant, detailed, and that also that you give them feedback. So maybe you saw theirs that they didn't see, or maybe you saw another part in the video that they missed. So give them keys and clues to what it is that they missed. So real good constructive feedback so that we can learn from each other and do a lot more of the social learning theory that Vygotsky talks about. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me and I will be glad to help you.